All right, what is up, everybody? Shadow Scout 0013 here, reporting in for another list build. This time, we're going to go over the Shadow Collective again. And I had a comment on one of the last videos, which makes a ton of sense, and stating that they don't have 6 pikes. And understandably, I don't even have 6 pikes. So I get it. And I kind of want to maybe go over a list or 2 or 3 that will cover if you've got maybe 2 starter boxes and Gar Saxon. Now, I'm going to assume that everyone bought 2 boxes, has a Gar Saxon, and I can also do some with maybe some of the units that have already been out for a while, like the AA5, Bosk, or CAD, as well as Darth Maul, obviously. But I just want to kind of do some stuff that people who might not have bought a lot already can at least do something with, and probably make a very fun slash beefy slash a nice 9 list activation for the most part. It's kind of where the sweet spot is that I keep coming at. It's hard to get a nice, good 10 activation list with just the 2 starter boxes and maybe a few things that we've already gotten before, but we can go ahead and try it and give it a shot. So let's go ahead, and if you haven't already, go ahead and sign up for the Discord. The Discord's awesome right now. I mean, if you're living overseas, if you're living in the States, doesn't matter where you are, I encourage all sorts of talk and every like game in here. I like the fact that Emperor and Naza and other people keep, chiming in and doing like talking about lists and talking about games. It's fun. I'm glad that people are doing this and connecting. It's fun to have this kind of community, and it's grown so much. I mean, there's almost 30 members in here, and that's fantastic. Now, again, if anyone has questions about lists, or if they have list ideas, or just questions in general, or maybe they want me to look over a list, or anyone else to look over a list, that's fine. Go ahead and submit it. I think it'd be great, and it just continues to build and hopefully get competitive, and maybe sometime soon we'll be able to get some games going, and hopefully like a nice little campaign. And then if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to theburnacademy.com for 15 bucks a month to give you 3-month workout programs, corrective exercises, videos of everything, example meal plans, ways to track your progress, basically having a personal trainer in your pocket. All right, so we'll go ahead and kind of go over some of the Shadow Collective. Let's just kind of go over one with Gar Saxon and the 2 boxes. So right now, I'm going to kind of focus this list around Gar Saxon and as the main commander, with just 2 of the Mandos, because honestly, if you're getting 2 boxes, that's pretty much what you're going to have. And his command card, besides his 1 pip, his 2 and 3 pip issue it to Gar Saxon and 2 trooper units, and then each friendly special forces unit gains outmaneuver. It doesn't matter how many special forces units you have, each of them will gain, the outmaneuver ability, even if you don't give them an order. So if you did have 4 special forces units, all 4 special forces units are going to be able to have outmaneuver. But for this one, obviously, we're just going to do two units of Mandos, because pretty much if you're getting 2 boxes, that's what you're going to have. Now, for Gar Saxon, if we just look real quick, there's no one else that has high velocity, and there's no one else that has really, really long range. So for now, this wouldn't be that bad to have, because canceling crits is really, really nice, or canceling dodges, sorry, is really, really nice. And being able to put that onto a force user who needs dodges, or pikes or rebels who have a lot of dodges, it's really, really nice for at least Gar Saxon to take a shot at them. Now, it's not expendable or anything, kind of like the jetpack rockets or the flame projector. You can keep it, and he does, just in case, have a close range of range 1 to 2 where he's shooting 4 dice. Not too bad. Pierce 1, which is awesome, built in. So you wouldn't necessarily need this. You honestly just need 1 of these. You really only need either the rifle or the jetpack rockets. But I mean, for the most part, you can take both of them, because if you feel like you're getting really close and there's a lot of armored units, having this with impact 2 and blast, hopefully it's going to get rid of 3 people for the most part, especially with white saves and for droids. So this one would be great, and or this one. For this one, since it's just 2 boxes and we're going to have plenty of room for upgrades because we have, a certain amount of units that we can have, why not go ahead and put them both? Now for training, I think what would work best, and I've already gone over I don't know if I've done a Gar Saxon unit breakdown, but I have talked about him at least when he did come out. And I think either up close and personal would be good if you're going to get him up close. Situational awareness would be great on him. Seize the initiative would be great because he doesn't have independent, so it doesn't matter if he has an order or not. You might want to have him have an order, but it's just kind of up to you on what you want to do. Overwatch, you probably don't need. It's not going to be the best. Offensive push would be pretty good to give him that extra aim. He's already got all the surging. So he's got offensive surge to hit crit and then surging to defense already with red defense dice. So that's really, really nice. So we don't need Into the Fray. Hunter would be really, really good. Endurance could be good because he's still only courage 2. So maybe getting that extra suppression off would be nice. But if you have, the long rifle and you're kind of keeping him in the backfield, then you probably don't need endurance as much. So that's pretty good. And then duck and cover, you don't need. So for this one, I'm just going to give him Hunter, honestly, to get that extra free aim when he needs it. And then I'm going to give him his Saxon Combat Shield. Obviously, it's his Combat Shield. I kind of want him to have it. It's recharge 1. So the end phase, if you did not flip any active shield tokens over this round, you can flip one of its inactive tokens. So basically, every other turn, if you've used it, you're going to be able to get it back. So it's really, really nice. Or just return. Yeah. So if you didn't flip any active shield token this round. So if you didn't use it that round, period, then you can gain it back. Yeah. So with the Mandalorian, with the Mandalorian Super Commandos, the Super Commando Marksman would be fantastic. And I think we can go with that. The Mandalorian Super Commando, I think, is going to be the cheapest. And with them only having, with the heavy involved, 4 people total with 1 health, even though they do surge defense, a few bad dice rolls can annihilate this unit. And I mean, you have big dice pools. This could definitely probably take 1 or 2 out for sure. So Super Mandalorian Commando would just be a good way to get more either activations or upgrades in. Or if you really feel like you're going to be able to do a lot with the Super Commando Marksman, then do it because they do have independent aim. So if they don't get an order, they're going to be able to get an aim, which is really going to play in to the precise 1 or the gun commando gunslinger. Well, since Gar Saxon's kind of staying in the back and I want the command cards to really kind of go to the Mandalorians regardless, having the Mandalorian Super Commando isn't that bad because then they're just going to get a dodge, they can move and they can do whatever they need to. But it's just kind of up to you what you want to do. I'm going to go with the Super Commando. I'm also going to give them the Super Commando Shield and situational awareness because just in case they don't get an order that turn, they don't have outmaneuver if they don't have his command cards. So I want to do that with situational awareness. And we'll go ahead and double that, giving us the 2 Mandalorian units that we need. So now we're going to have to fill out with core. So let's go with the pikes, and then we're going to have some Black Sun. With the pikes, honestly, they're doing really, really good at long range. Black Sun Enforcers are really good at close range. So for this purpose, and for this list idea and build, I'm not going to go with the Electro Whip, even though it is way cheaper, because you've already got a really good close range. So I'm going to go with the long range to be able to get a little bit of extra oomph from them. And then with the Black Sun, you can go with either a Magnet and or the Scattergun. It's just you're going to have lower ability to do a lot when you're spending 14 more points on the shotgun when you can spend that on another heavy on another unit. So say we just did that and kept the Magnet Enforcer, we can maybe honestly instead of that maybe just give the Black Sun Enforcer or the Vigo. It's just kind of up to you on that, but we do need our commanders now, so we do have to have at least one of each of these guys. For the Black Sun, I usually like to do improvised orders because it's nice to have at least an improvised order with a list that usually you're trying not to give out orders. And with the pikes, I always want to do vigilance because they're the ones who always usually have so many dodges, I should say. So I want to keep the dodges on there as best I can with vigilance. And Then with the Black Sun, they're probably either going to use their aim or not, but we have nothing to keep their aim with. And again, because we're not giving orders out, we don't need we don't need strict orders or underworld connections. We don't need inspiring presence because he's only got courage 2. Commanding presence, I mean, not necessarily, you don't need it. So the best one to do would be improvised orders, because aggressive tactics, it's after, if you're nominated after issuing orders, choose up to 4 friendly units with face up order tokens. And again, you're not trying to do anything face up. So improvised orders, I think, would be the best on there, leaving you with 59 points left to do with what you want. Now, again, we only have the 2 boxes, and we only have 2 pike foot soldiers. We've got the 2 Black Sun Enforcers, and I have a Vigo to increase the courage value on him. So what we could do is we could put the scatter gun on that Black Sun Enforcer. And then if you wanted, with the 9 activations, you could give yourself the Pike Syndicate and give them the either prepared supplies or portable scanner. And then with this Black Sun, you can also, instead, honestly, I would make it 800 points exactly, 9 activations, giving you pretty stacked, because then the reason I would give the Black Sun Enforcers an extra guy is because they have to get so close. They're only range 1 to 2. They do have the red defense die, so they should be able to get in a little bit closer and easier than the pikes. And since the pikes are staying in the back for the most part, for the range 1 to 3, range 1 to 4 heavies, range 1 to 3 unit, they're kind of staying in the back, so they're not rushing in. They don't need as many people, I feel like. And with the dodges that they're going to generate, again, you can have the extra person. But for this particular build, I would rather have that extra person on the Black Sun Enforcers. Now, this is just a quick little easy build with 9 axe. You have, like I said, Gar Saxon, 2 Mando units. You've got the Pike Capo, and everything else that you can have with just 2 starter boxes. Like, I get 2 of these. You have your Black Sun. You've got 2 Black Sun Vigos because you've got the 2 boxes. Yeah. So this is really nice. I think this is a pretty fun one. And then let's see what we have. We'll go. All right. So let's kind of save that. I'll leave that there. So let's kind of clear the list. Let's go with a Maul. All right. So everyone got Maul in the starter box as well. And there's a few different ways to play him and upgrade him. So if we just take a quick look, he's got jump 1, allies of convenience. So he's going to be able to, just hand out orders basically. He's got deflect. So anytime you spin that dodge, you can basically, anytime you surge, you're going to give them a wound. Immune to pierce. So pierce can't be used against you in melee or shooting. Geo mastery, which means that if he's got a wound, he's going to be able to do an extra action. And then he's going to start out with a wound. So instead of 6 health, it says 5 and 3. So he's already starting out with his double-bladed lightsaber, and he's got a good few upgrades that we can bring with him. So he does have a card that allows him to recover, and he still has 3 actions. So you could recover and then still move and do something. So force push, I think, and force choke would be really, really nice, honestly. With the way that he can get a dodge, you might be able to keep it, but vigilance, I think, would be probably the better one to have on him. And he's only got 1 trading slot, which makes this really, really hard. Now, tenacity is always a good choice. That'll give him 5 red dice. I think Seize the Initiative is really good because, he's going to be order hungry, and he's, when you're not playing a command card for him specifically, and you're trying not to give out orders, he might still want one. So Seize the Initiative would be pretty good. Situational awareness could be good because, again, he would be able to cancel crits with those dodges. Offensive push would be good to be able to get that aim. Offensive stance, defensive stance. Sure. Maybe you run the offensive stance, defensive stance if you don't run the Darksaber. Maybe because those white dice, you're definitely going to want to try to re-roll, and because he won't surge. At least with the Darksaber, he's going to have surge to crit and cunning, which definitely will come in handy sometimes, especially when you need to go first. Cunning is amazing. So offensive, defensive stance wouldn't be that bad. Into the Fray would also be really, really good because, again, he doesn't surge to anything, and he's getting in close consistently. And so I think Into the Fray, honestly, would be amazing. And then the Darksaber, why not? Now, we will go ahead and get some other commanders in here. Let's go ahead and try to put vigilance on him. And we only technically need just 2 core. All right. Now, let's just say that someone has the AA5 speeder truck. Now, I've done a few lists with the AA5 speeder truck, but for this reason, just to get, Maul in and try to hopefully do some damage, all of these are a good choice. If you don't really care about the gun and you're just trying to get in, I think the Reckless Driver would be pretty good with the refurbished Gonk Droid, just to make sure that it stays alive and consistently able to deal some damage, and then Comms Jammer to make sure that there's no one coming in. That's a good way, to use that if you wanted to. Another good way, and since it's just the AA5, you can go with the Frenzied Gunner, which is 5 points, but then really you're going to want a hard point, weapon. So you've got that. And then now it's kind of whether or not you want any of these. There is no medic or anything like that for vehicles or for people. So the backworld medic would be pretty good. The refurbished Gonk Droid would at least keep the AA5 alive a little bit longer. So, and Unorthodox Tactician being able to hand out some aims each turn is pretty valuable. So these 3, I feel like, are always the best. The unstable, astromech, I don't know if it's ever really worth it, to be honest, but it can be. I mean, if you don't plan on taking anything, yeah, I don't know. I don't really ever recommend that, but with the Frenzied Gunner and having a weapon, maybe the refurbished Conch Droid and the Backworld Medic would be pretty good. Let's just see what we can make the cheapest. So if we go ahead and did that, that's what, 122. Let's take out that. 113. Even with the Comms Jammer, still 118, so still cheaper. And that's still giving you a lot. Now, maybe you don't want the Reckless Driver. The Raiding Party Leader, you really don't need because you don't have very many other vehicles right now. So that's just up to you. Maybe you don't even want a driver. Maybe you just want to kind of have your potential medic and heavy cover, mobile heavy cover. Let's see. Let's just go with the Reckless Driver and Comms Jammer, and maybe we'll get rid of the Backworld Medic and just keep it here. Now, let's try adding Black Sun Enforcers and load these guys out. Make 2 of those because maybe you want to put one of them in the bus or you put Maul in the bus. It really doesn't matter. You can try them both. And because the Black Sun Enforcers are kind of decked out, they're going to be dealing some pretty heavy damage, really close range. So you might as well put them in the speeder. And if not, and you like Maul being completely isolated, or maybe there's lots of line of sight covers or blockers, maybe keep Maul out of the bus and then let the AA5 speeder truck take one of the Black Sun Enforcer groups because they're going to have a huge dice pool, especially at range 1 to 2. So at range 1 to 2, you've already got 4 guys, so that's 8 dice plus the Black Sun Vigo, so that's 10 dice, and then you have the Black Sun Scattergun, which is another 2 dice for 12 dice, rather than Darth Maul's 8, or now 6 because he's got the Darksaber with no tenacity. Now, if you don't want the Darksaber and you want to keep it, then now you've got more dice. You've got 8 dice instead of the 6. But that cunning and surge to crit, it's so nice. It just kind of depends. That's up to you. Right now, let's take it off, kind of save a few points. Let's go ahead now. Maul does really good with some commandos. He does really good with Rook, and then maybe we put Rook with, combat shields and situational awareness. You got you only got 12 points left, so you really don't have very much left you can do. You might be able to put portable scanners on there, kind of giving you, 8 activations, but that's still pretty low. Let's see. Take away portable scanners here. Let's, make one of these Black Sun Enforcers just a little bit cheaper. And then give yourself back the Mandalorian. Maybe give yourself 2 of them. You can't do anything with Rook, so maybe you get rid of this Black Sun Vigo. And to make sure you still keep hitting hard, you just do that. Now we're still 12 points over. Honestly, maybe get rid of the refurbished Gonk droid. And you've got 800 points now, giving them situational awareness with her, leaving you a naked Mando unit. And Rookcast kind of, hanging out. But at least that's 2 Mando units. That's 9 activations. And maybe we take out the Black Sun, that extra guy. That leaves us 11 points. Maybe we can at least still give her unit the combat shield so she lasts a little bit longer. Maybe, yeah, you keep the scattergun in the AA5, and then that's still 9 activations. And then let's go ahead and go over with Bossk and or Gar Saxon and Bossk. How about that? So we go with Gar Saxon. Let's kind of just give him, let's make these all a long range kind of list. How about that? You don't need the combat shield if you're going to keep him long range. Maybe that's all you go with. Maybe just the rifle, Hunter and Saxon. And then you go with the simplest, maybe Mando unit. Maybe you do go with the marksman, sure. And you go with the combat shields. Then you have to have, you got to have at least those 2 core. Let's give out vigilance and see what happens. Let's give the long range guns to the pikes. Now we have what we have to have. Ooh, and with Bossk, I always love Hunter and targeting scopes. All right. And so, yeah, let's keep the Mandalorians with them. That's all long range that we have right now. You might not have swoop bikes just yet. And I'm trying to think. There's no way we can do anything long range with the Black Sun Enforcers. So maybe we just kind of keep them. That's 9 activations. And they're the only short range. So you're trying to keep them maybe either in the back or as backup to the pikes. Or maybe they're going first in as far forward as possible. And then your pikes are kind of covering them, laying down suppressive fire. And then you have Gar Saxon, the Mandalorians, all and Bossk, at least their range. Bossk is range 2 to 4. So at least he's getting to range 4. Mandalorians are all range 3. Gar Saxon can get to range 5, possibly. Your PM Disruptor soldiers are range 1 to 4. Your Pike Capos range 1 to 3. So at least this is pretty good for long range for just, 2 boxes and a Gar Saxon with having Bossk already. And I figured that this would be good because, again, you're staying away from the opponent with all of this range 3 and 4 and really strong range 3 units, and then a super strong range 2 unit right here. Now you do have 3 points left with what you can do with whatever you want. Maybe you give Gar Saxon the situational awareness just in case he winds up needing a dodge. Or yeah, you have a 3-point bid. That's really the only thing I can see. Yeah. And again, let's go over command cards for this one at least. So merciless munitions wouldn't be that bad, but I honestly would go with Ploy and Marked for Elimination again because everyone in this list has independent except for Gar Saxon. So for the most part, you can just kind of choose who you want. Maybe like Gar Saxon can be the one you have underneath. Or if you have to have, Bossk under there, you can have Bossk under there. But I would go with both of those. you know, I would definitely go with Fight Another Day to make sure that Gar Saxon and Mandalorians are getting that extra, you know, outmaneuver ability. And then Reptilian Rampage, I'd probably go over more than aggressive tactics because again, at least with this one, he's Bosk is the only one getting an order, so everyone else is getting their independent except for Gar Saxon, obviously. And then Victory or Death, I think would be awesome because it's giving Gar Saxon an aim along with 2 other units, and then they can cancel crits with the outmaneuver ability. And then this one's kind of tough because Lying in Wait is giving it again to Bosk, and he's only getting 2 surge tokens, which everyone else again will activate their independent, and he can get as many aims as possible. So you're foregoing the surge tokens he's going to get for a crap ton of aims. So it's kind of up to you of what you want to do on that one. Again, I think this is more worth it in the Shadow Collective than it is in a lot of other lists. But if you are in desperate need of those dodges, then honestly, I think that discretion would be better. But it's a hard choice. You know, I would go with discretion. Why not? Because I think those dodges on multiple units that are especially going to need them and or need to get close, that wouldn't be that bad. All right, yeah. So that's just a few list ideas for people who only bought 2 boxes and a Gar Saxon, and then had the AA5 and Bosk. And then there's one with Maul, and I've made another list before with Maul, and I'll leave that down below or I'll leave it at the very, very end. And yeah, all right, guys, that's really it. So if you have any questions, or maybe there's other, you know, ideas that you have, maybe you only have a certain amount of units from just buying the, you know, starter sets or the battle force or whatever you need. If at least there's a few other things that you have, we can come up with a list, at least on the Discord. If not, I can try to come up with a list and try to hopefully share it so other people can get it and be able to build a list with what they have. You know, I figured at least if I can go over what would be best for some of the units and or ideas for some of the units that we have, then it would help out a lot for people who, again, are just getting started into Star Wars Legion or the Shadow Collective. And hopefully this kind of talked a little bit about, you know, some of the strategies of why I kind of upgrade and why I would upgrade some people, just to kind of give you a better understanding of, you know, what to upgrade people with and kind of what works and what doesn't work. Because again, you don't need duck and cover on Gar Saxon. You don't need Into the Fray or offensive, you know, well, offensive push wouldn't be that bad. Or Overwatch. You really don't need that on Gar Saxon. But I mean, there are times for certain things. But again, I just want to help out with people who are just getting started or, you know, who just need ideas. But all right, guys, sorry about rambling. If you haven't already, go ahead and head to theburnacademy.com for $15 a month and subscribe to get your 3-month workout plans for weight loss or building muscle. You know, everyone's got to stay healthy. Keeping your bones healthy, keeping your immune system strong, keeping your mental health strong is all coming along with working out. So try to work out if you can. And if you need a personal trainer, subscribe for $15 a month and get your own workouts from myself. And then feel free to add anything you want to the Discord and talk about whatever you want. Empire list, Rebel lists, whatever you guys are in the mood for, Gar lists, Shadow Collective stuff, kind of whatever you are in the mood for, go ahead and add it. But all right, guys, I will catch you later in the next video. And if you have any suggestions, leave them down below in the comments and I'll try to get to it. Or if you've got any ideas or anything like that, leave it down below. All right, guys, catch you later.